Hello, Julia. Welcome into this I Do project. I am very glad that you said yes and you are here to share who you are with our listener. I am very glad that you are in such a beautiful sunny day with a nature landscape behind you, and you are bringing nature inside our home. And for the start, I will like to invite you to quickly present yourself in 30 seconds.
Thank you, Raluca. Thank you for having me here today. So yes, I'm Julia and I live in France. Right now, I am living this lockdown in a nice house in the countryside. So I can enjoy nature every day. And as it is part of my job, it's very nice for me to be there and to have time to focus on myself and to work on my projects.
What is your real job, Julia?
So my job is to guide people into the forest for forest bathing therapy. So it's about not like having sick people in the forest. You can be sick or you can be very well and healthy. It's about finding through your feelings and through your senses a connection back to you and to nature.
Beautiful. And how do you prepare your participants before walking inside the forest for real? Do they need some sort of I don't know, meditation or some information?
Of course, some information. They don't need to have like a mental preparation, but is it okay with the wind?
Yeah, it's a little windy, but we hear you
Okay.
between some pushes of the wind.
Okay, so they do need information because as you go into nature, it can be rainy or very sunny or even maybe snowing. So people have to be prepared for cold, for heat, to have water with them. It's not like having a hike or yes, it's not like it's a very difficult trip. It's really easy. You just walk for a bit. But still, if you spend like 3 hours in nature, you don't want to have no water or no hat or like no coat if it's raining.
And how does it work? How do they experience the walk in the nature as a therapy? How how
So
how do you proceed with them to open them to nature and to make them feel?
we go through a standard sequence. So we have two thresholds. The first threshold is the one of like going into nature. So it's when you drop all the thoughts you came with and slowly come into your body. So it's kind of embodiment. We have a kind of meditation to help people to focus on different senses. And through the body, you are in the present moment. So we basically help people to slow down and to be present. Then we have various invitations to connect with nature, and it depends on the weather, on the nature, on what is present in the moment. And then we have the second threshold that is of incorporation. It means that you have to give back a bit of what you received from nature. So we do this through a tea ceremony. And at the same time, you have to integrate with you what you learned from this experience. so you can come back with something of the forest with you at home.
This sounds beautiful. And what kind of insight do your participants in this nature connection experience get after the trip? What are the most interesting or insightful
Okay,
thoughts?
so yeah, it's very various, of course. Often people are surprised because they go to this experience to have a connection with nature, and they find that they have a very nice connection with other participants. They really share with each other during the experience, and they, even if they didn't know the person before, they have this true feeling of intimacy and sharing with strangers. Another insight is to feel much more relaxed at the end of the walk, of course, and that they had time to focus on something more essential, important to them.
How did you discover nature, connection with nature, and that you want to do this as a job?
I guess it was when I had this very long experience in jungle in Bolivia. I was very afraid of the jungle and of all its potential dangers. But when I was there, like spending my whole day there, walking pumas on trails, I
This sounds like an everyday experience for us. Please tell
that's
me
really an
more.
adventure. So when I was there, and sometimes the puma would just take a nap for 1 or 2 hours, and you were just sitting there with the puma and watching ants going around you, sometimes the butterflies, but otherwise also mosquitoes and wasps and not so nice things. So you are kind of watching everything, a bit afraid, but at the same time, you are seeing so many beautiful things, and there is a very nice feeling, comforting feeling of being in nature, like it's our home. Really, it's our home. And yes, when you manage to feel comfortable there, time time doesn't happen, uh, doesn't fly. It's, you're just there, and it's very a wonderful feeling. And you have so many rewards from this, gifts from the forest and so on.
A wonderful moment that you just described. How did you got to go in Bolivia in the jungle? It was a trip, a
Yeah,
pleasure
it was
trip.
the truth is my dream was to uh, have a long experience with pumas because it's my favorite animal. And so I checked how could I volunteer with pumas somewhere. And Bolivia sort kind of popped out because there was an association in Tiwara Yasi working with wild animals for a long time. And so I was, okay, I'm going to do that.
And what did you discover about pumas in that
uh,
trip? You discovered a lot about yourself and about
yeah,
your job future.
about pumas, that they are um, surprising animals. They are kind of as big as a big dog, but so gracious, and also that they are wild. You can't really trust them, I guess, as a wild animal. But at the same time, they are very affectionate. Sometimes they would go to you to just purr for having some nice touch from you, and they were affectionate, yes, very affectionate and really joyful, playful. They are surprising animals.
So, did you get to have a sort of communication system? Do you know to read a puma state of mind or her feelings, or when you can get close and get affectionate,
Yeah,
and when you have to stay from
I
a
mean,
distance?
it's a bit like a cat. When he's making his big eyes, you know he's going to jump you. And they also have their habits. So you know that at some point on the path, they're going to do something crazy like running, or kind of know them by habit or so.
And how do you stay safe around the puma
Um, it's
in the
about,
wild?
yes. Oh, in the wild. In the wild, they shouldn't go near the man, because usually these big animals, they are kind of, I'm not sure they're afraid, but I think they don't trust us. We are a predator too, so they just avoid us. They are going to come closer to us if they had an experience with humans before. So usually when an animal is attacking humans, like these killing tigers in India, or killing jaguars, it's because they had an experience with humans. It's our fault.
It's like in humans. I know when something bothers you, you had an experience maybe before. But you were not with wild pumas in Bolivia.
No, it wasn't wild pumas.
They were domesticated, or how
They were
was
kind
it?
of, I'm not sure it's the good term to say tamed. It's because it's not that they are like a domesticated cat or dog, but more like, uh, an animal that you get to know, and he knows some tricks, like you can say stop, or you can have some kind of communication words with them.
Mm-hmm. And you learn to teach them the communication as babies, or
No,
it
no,
was
it was
being
not part
written.
of my practice. They were big enough for the one I met.
And what were your volunteering actions around pumas? What did you do with them?
So I worked with two pumas. A first one was Sonko, which means heart in Quechua, and this one was kind of very nice and gentle. So we were walking him half a day or the whole day, always by at least two person. So we were walking him in the jungle. So like you just go around in the jungle and follow the puma on the path. And then we were coming back and give him the food. And while he was having the food, we were cleaning a bit his enclosure. And sometimes we would bring back some toys, uh, nature-made toys, or hiding the meat in big banana leaves in the enclosure, so um, he can hunt a bit,
Mm.
like in nature.
He's got to work
Uh,
for his
yes, of
his
course,
food.
because the big thing is that they don't get bored, so they don't have this pattern of zoos animals where they are walking like this.
Mm-hmm.
It means that they start to be a bit crazy
Mm-hmm.
when they are pathing like that. So that was the first one. And the second one was named Capitan, and he had a kind of a sad story. He couldn't be walked, so he had this big enclosure for himself, and I had to spend time around his enclosure for him to have some activity. So I was walking around, talking to him, singing to him, because he liked singing. Yeah, he enjoyed that, and he was kind of trying to jump me through the fence, but it can be very startling at the beginning. And then you feed him and you clean his enclosure, and it's funny because even if I had not such a close connection with him physically, through the heart, it was my biggest connection.
And he felt it too, probably.
Yeah, I guess. I'm sure he remembers me.
He's singing in his head.
Yeah, because the thing is, he liked French volunteers. Maybe he had something with French.
So, how is life in France now?
Right now, it depends where you are living, of course. I feel like I'm very lucky to be in the countryside. I don't have to wait a long time to get my shopping in the supermarkets. But if you are living in Paris or in big cities, you have to wait outside of the supermarkets for a long time before going in. And we have like these forms to fill to go out for an hour and say, I'm going to do my shopping, or I'm going to visit my grandparents because they can't go to the shopping by themselves. You have to justify every move, but you can go out.
Here is the same form, the same declaration. What about your old habits? What do you keep nowadays, and what do you miss most of your habits?
I keep sport. In the morning, meditation too. Meditation and sport is the like beginning of my day, because it helps me to focus on what is important for me. And throughout the day, I go to the forest because I have a forest just behind my garden.
Wow,
So I still have this
that's a
connection with
privilege.
nature. And I have, I guess for the habits, I still can do my habits like usual. What I miss is more like going around to see friends and to have other activities with people. And yes, that's the main part.
Yeah, that's only by sight in online medium now. What do you practice as a sport? You start the day with the regular fitness usual sport, or do you have other type of sport that you practice?
I do some very short stretching first, like the sun salutation from yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to have like 10 minutes of intense workout. So I sweat a bit. And then it depends. Right now, I'm trying to go deeper into my stretching, because I feel like my body really likes to have this space in between muscles and the joints and so on. So I go deeper into that. But then through the day, I have other practices like the taos from Kung Fu. It's this moves that are very, you do one move and then there is another move and then there is another move, and it looks like beautiful things like a bit of Tai Chi or something like that. And this helps me to go back to the moves from the practice, because I practice Kung Fu. And it also works my memory.
To remember the postures.
Yeah.
Um, what did you took from the spirit of Kung Fu in your mind, in your way of living? Do you have some insights from this in practice?
Yeah. I guess there is a bit of this discipline that helps me to go throughout the day, because when I'm lazy with having some physical activity, I don't feel so great in my body. So that's a thing that I like to really incorporate into my daily life. I'm still learning a lot, but breathing is an important one, because I always had, I think, a short breath, and now I really managed to, when I feel a bit tense or stressed, to go back to my breathing. And you can do so many things, and intense things. It can be intense mentally or intense physically, with a very when you focus on your breath, like you don't forget to breathe, just breathe, and everything goes well.
Everything will be okay after a deep
Yeah.
breath.
Yes, and also a bit about relaxing, and yes, I feel like there is much more, but I'm still like integrating bit by bit.
So how does your day look like?
Like the morning is kind of always the same, like meditation, sport, shower, nature, and then it's very open. Like it depends on if I have Zoom calls with friends, or to do virtual walks for forest bathing in my garden.
I also
Or
wanted to know how does this transfer into the online, this experience? How does it work to make a virtual nature experience?
well, do I finish first the typical day, or do I
Please.
switch to? Yeah, okay, I finished then. Um, More and more with the days going, since the lockdown, I was kind of thinking, I put on a list what is the most important things I have to do every day, like meditation, movement, nature connection, work on my activity, and writing. And then I just do this when I feel it, like it. I really like, if I have an iPod point at some point in the day, I just do it, but otherwise, just like I feel it.
So
Tuning my energy.
you have structure and free spirit in the afternoon. It's a good combination.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that question popped into my mind because I'm very curious about it. So please tell us how do you do your virtual nature experience tour?
So through Zoom, everybody is connecting through Zoom, and we at first have a small discussion to introduce each other. And I'm in my garden like now, so it's not a big garden, but it's a nice one.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with spring right now, we have flowers everywhere, so it's green, it's beautiful. And so I'm the one keeping my camera and my sound on, and I have these invitations for people. So like maybe I can tell them to spend some time with a being of nature, like a tree, a rock, a plant, an animal, and spend some time with the being like it was a friend. And that's all. And I tell them, I will call you back in 10 minutes. So people can maybe connect with a being I'm going to be connected with through my camera. So if I connect to a plant and my camera is focusing on that plant, they can connect through the camera, or they can find in their own garden or in the house a plant, an animal, a rock that they feel attracted to and have this same experience, or through their window, I don't know. So it's really trying to find invitations that you can do wherever you are, for people inside like people outside. And it's a bit shorter because it's a long time to do it through internet, but you still have the connection with other participants, you still have the connection with nature, and you still have this focus on the inside, on the present moment.
Beautiful. Tell us about your writing. You mentioned writing in the afternoon. What are you writing?
Right now, I try to write some posts on my Instagram account for my new activity, a bit also to tell about my virtual walks on Facebook. But I really would like to also introduce more about writing my novels, because I write some novels. I had one published. I have one waiting for maybe being editing. And I just started a new project, and it's like I'm so focused on these virtual walks and trying to have my activity starting through that very special moment in time, that I don't find the time, or maybe not the time, but the energy to go on this project, because I still have a lot to think about. I guess like when I know where I'm going, then it will be easy to write, because I can like take 30 minutes to write and it will be okay, but I'm still not knowing where I'm going.
Does your actual novel has this very strong connection with nature? Does it have this nature experience that you are living every day with with people?
Not really. It's more, but it's about like in the core of it, not the story, but in the core of it, it's about uh, loving oneself enough to see your value, and also to try to live your life as a human being and not as a robot, like doing things going, and then you are like, is it a life?
When you've got no batteries, surely it will stop. So how do you prepare to write, and how do you put your mind into creativity mode? Or are you off creativity sometimes?
Right now I feel like I'm a bit off for that. Well, it depends on what I'm doing. Like when I have struggles, like right now, trying to know where I'm going into the plot of my novel, it really helps to be in nature. Like nature for me is a door through to creativity. It's the same to write about my project. I like to go into nature and see what insights, what ideas I find in nature. And sometimes it's not like just nature telling me some things. It's just like, okay, I'm there. I have my pen, I have my paper, and have nothing else to do. So I won't go anywhere else till I find something to write. And so at the beginning, you're like, and what should I write? Is it okay? I don't know. You have so many ideas, or you're thinking of something else, like what should I do for dinner, or I don't know. But then with nature, it's very simple that your mind is going like flat and just it's calm, and then you have the inspiration coming.
It's beautiful because your connection to nature transfers everywhere, even in creativity. And you described so well that moment of common thoughts um, at the starting point, and then creativity and inspiration that hits you. Reminded me of what Elizabeth Gilbert said, that inspiration comes, but it has to find you at your desk work. You have to stay and be patient and stay even in that moment that common thoughts are around. And what was
but otherwise, oh,
please.
I was just saying that sometimes otherwise, when I'm not struggling, I just need to write. It's like coming through.
It's an instinct. It's in you, and you let it on the paper. Do you write on paper, or do you write on a laptop?
Both. I like to write with a pen, but it takes such a long time to write back on the computer afterwards that sometimes it's just easier to go directly on the computer. But it's true that when I'm struggling, I do need the paper, because on the computer I don't have this global view on what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. And your published novel, what was about?
It was about people. How do we say that? They're both sink into the sea, and then they are on an island, a desert island. So there are kind of 12 of them, and they are in this survival mode. Not at the beginning, because they believe that they are going to be saved right away, but they see that people aren't coming to save them, and it's weirder and weirder, like, this didn't happen by accident. So they have to work together, and at the same time they can't really trust anybody. And it have a huge impact on their psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Also on their relationships, because it was kind of work relationships, and then things start to change. But it's only in French right now.
How do you see your relationships, and how do you cultivate good relationships?
I see relationships like a very important thing. And right now, even before this period, I kind of felt like I have struggles to find the people I am close to. Like, some people I feel close to, but they are away or not so present. So it's a bit difficult, when you love people and you don't feel like they're here for you. And at the same time, right now, I found very nice connections with people that are very far away, but I share some things with them, like some tribes you know of, or the people that went through the same training as me for guiding forest therapy.
Mm-hmm.
We are all over the world, and we have this Zoom sharings, and it feels like we are closer than before.
I feel that too. What is your biggest quality, Julia?
I guess if I trust what people are telling about me, it would be joy.
And if like, you would trust your inner you?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe joy? I don't know.
Okay. Did you have difficult moment in your life? Maybe a turning point, a sort of revelation about yourself.
A difficult point in my life was when an ex-boyfriend left me, and there were still much love between us. Now this love is more like a friendship, a very strong friendship, very deep, so it's very wonderful. But it took me so long to turn that, and at the beginning I was just like thinking, why is this happening to me? And what I learned through this very long process was that, in fact, I wasn't myself totally. Like this spiritual part of me, like very interesting in spirituality and so on, was kind of having this place of just a hobby of sometimes, and not talking too much about it because it's weird and people feel like it's not rational at all. And so I was kind of, it was my in the closet, like maybe you can see it. And now it's just like I respect everybody's beliefs, but my belief is about this, and I can't live my life without having a huge part into my daily life. It's my daily life. It's not a habit. It's how I see the world.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Julia. And now that our interview comes to an end, I would like to ask you, your listeners, our listeners, to click the link in the description, and if something, one insight of what Julia said, one idea, one habit inspired you, please click the link and help us help the hospitals in Romania who are in need right now. Julia, it was such a pleasure to be with you, to see who you are, to see the nature around you, and your passion and your bond and your creativity. And now in the finish line of our interview, my challenge to you is to find one single word that defines you. Me, Julia El Puma, I am.
Me, Julia El Puma, I am love.
What a lovely answer. Thank you so much for this and for your warmth and love and openness.
Thank you
We
so
will
much.
keep in touch and hope to see you soon.
Me too. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.